Hey guys, in this episode we're going to do a boat tour of 37 Hunter Cherubini. Let's check it out. So I don't have to go very far for this boat tour. Noel happens to be my dockmate, and he's directly across from me. Just get this landing out of the way. And there she is. Beautiful boat. So sitting here today with Noel and Savannah. Both of these guys have basically grown up on boats. Noel sailing his entire life, and Savannah grew up in my town, Lake Fenton, and I've basically known her since she was in diapers. And like Noel, she has been on a boat her entire life, and most recently they are a couple, and now they're spending every weekend sailing.
Absolutely.
So Savannah, how is the transition from power boating on Lake Fenton, which is actually what the lake that I did the last episode on with the sail club? What was the transition like going from a smaller lake to sailing on Lake Erie?
Basically the weather. I can't believe the difference. In Lake Fenton, you don't see the waves or the wind like you do here, and especially the sailing when there's really bad weather and you can't do anything about it. Last year, he definitely made me get used to the big waves and 8-footers
on
that
accident.
you're not used to. Yeah.
On accident.
And
Yeah,
so
let's
that's
talk
just
about
a little
that
intense.
first trip out. The first time Noel took Savannah out, you guys went to Put-in-Bay, right?
No,
Yes.
we went to Westchester,
Oh,
which
Westchester.
was a
Yeah.
different heavy weather experience.
The first time we went to Westchester and anchored out for the night, and I fell asleep, but I woke up to about 4 to 5 foot waves,
and
and
I was up all night.
yeah, Noel freaking out that the boat was gonna hit the ground and we had to leave. And it was about a 4-hour trip back, and I was really got seasick, and that was my first experience puking overboard and having to recover the next
Just
day.
on the way back, that one wasn't that bad.
No, but then yeah, we went to Put-in-Bay and came back, and it was about 9 hours of 6 to 8 footers, and it was an experience, that's for sure. Not one I like to relive very much.
Yeah, for how long were we out there for?
About 9
9 hours.
hours.
9 hours and 6 to 8 foot waves?
Yep.
Yeah.
It normally takes about 4 to 5 hours, so we're beating into it. That's the hard part. You're beating into it with somebody who's not used to that motion. That's tough.
Right. Well, I remember I was here when you guys pulled in, and it was funny. Noel's comment to me is, Scott, I honestly thought she was going to step off the boat, walk to her car, and I'd never see her again.
If I could have walked, I probably would
Yeah,
have,
she
but
couldn't walk.
I couldn't even walk at that point. I was so sick, so I ended up crawling into bed below, and Noel had a great idea to make all of his friends dinner and invite them over, so I laid in bed while everybody ate around me.
And they've been together ever since. And
Yeah.
actually, you've gotten used to the rough weather, and you
Yeah.
haven't been sick since,
I
right?
haven't been
We
sick
went through
this season.
You don't realize it. We went through some stuff.
So yeah, we've been
Specifically from the Detroit River to Leamington was relatively rough. I mean, following seas, but
Yeah,
we were still rocking pretty good. from
She's
that
a trooper.
I'm hanging in there.
She's a
He's
trooper.
not getting rid of me that easy.
Mm-mm.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the boat, and later on we're going to pull Savannah back in because, like I mentioned, she was actually in one of my earlier videos. I can't remember which number it was, but she owns Image Projections in Fenton, and we did a nice little tour of her business. Again, check that episode out, guys.
Homemade shirt right
Yeah.
here.
That's
we got,
right.
We got shirts
Yeah.
and we got these
Like
cushions.
buttons.
She made these cushions.
Yep.
So
I'm going to show those cushions off in
I
a
know.
moment.
Get to
So-
see more stuff that she made on the inside. I've actually got a project in the work that she's a big part of right now.
Fantastic.
The door.
Yeah.
And the other thing is she is a phenomenal cook. I mean, this girl.
I don't know, I'd say cook, I'd say griller.
Yeah, I'm a grill
Griller and those
Grill
pizzas
master.
that she makes, you know. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, the pizzas are good.
every time they pull in, I want to come over here and grab a bite to eat. So let's check out.
Yeah,
What's
she
that?
is good at grilling.
Yeah, so let's check out this boat. So similar to Godspeed, this is a '78 Hunter Cherubini.
Yes, same designer, same vintage, a boat. Yep, everything older than 83, 84 is considered a Cherubini Hunter, which is a different grade of boat altogether. John Cherubini was a naval architect and a very good designer in my opinion. They still make boats, Cherubini 44 and 48, and so this was some of his earlier work with Hunter Marine when Hunter Marine was just getting started. I like these boats. I'm not a fan of all of Hunter, but I really like these boats.
What are the significant differences between a Cherubini and say a modern day Hunter?
They're just sailing characteristics, what they're a purpose for. The Hunter does a very good job of making their boats for a certain market, and that's really good. They're very successful. This boat is designed for something else. This is it's got a motion comfort of 32. Everything between 30 and 40 is considered blue water capable, and most boats designed today are in the 26 or 25 coastal cruising boat. This is considered a blue water boat.
Yeah, let's talk about displacements. The difference between say a 37 Cherubini and a 37 Hunter.
Yeah.
Or 38 Hunter.
Yeah, 3800. So the difference is that motion comfort is at like a 26 for that same size boat. Even though that boat's bigger than mine, doesn't mean that it goes through the water better. This is an 18,000 pound boat, and that's a lot heavier than most, and it's got more lead in the keel. It's a solid fiberglass boat for the hull, and it's a masthead rig. It's got a backstay. It doesn't have a B&R rig like the modern boats have. It's just a little bit sturdier design. Its function is to go through more weather more comfortably, and it's narrower, and it's got some nice curves in my opinion.
Oh, it's a beautiful boat.
That's what I appreciate.
So one of the other differences between the 30 and the 37 is the rig, right?
Yeah.
That's a sloop.
Yeah, because I started with a 30. Actually, I've been sailing a 30 since I was 5, a Hunter 30 Cherubini, and I've had this boat for 2 years now, and this is a cutter rig, and the 30 is a sloop rig. So I've got 3 sails here instead of just the 2, which offers, again, some heavy weather options. It's a lot easier to deal with 3 smaller sails than it is to deal with 2 giant sails. Even in the 30 was actually more difficult to run than this boat is. This boat is far easier to deal with than that boat ever was.
So what kind of anchor do you have on this, Noel?
That's a personal preference. I will have to rework how this is put together. I just got a new anchor because I lost the old one on the Detroit River. Got snagged on old Model T or something, and I go with the Delta plows. I like the Delta plows, but that's all preference. I like to know that if it gets snagged down there, I can just cut it loose and buy another one, because the new generation ones are super expensive, and I'm a traditional guy. I like my traditional stuff, I guess.
Right. Then we have your anchor locker here. Can you open that up for us? I like how deep it is. So how much chain and rode do you have?
For the Great Lakes, I've just got 15 feet with 150 feet of a road. So 15 feet of chain, and then of course I've got just a backup, properly sized Danforth in there too, as a secondary.
Excellent. And roller furling on the head sail.
So what I have is this is my halyard here.
Okay.
That comes undone, hooks on there. I've actually retrofitted. No, previous owners retrofitted it back. I did some modifications, but so I just pull it up from the cockpit and pull the sail up, and and that's how this one goes up. And
So
hopefully
everything's led aft.
Yep, everything's led aft on this boat, but that's unusual for this
Okay.
model. Hopefully Scott will get some video of me sailing today. Should be going out at the same time today, so that'll be kind of fun.
I will definitely get some video. So tying Noel down to get a boat tour, I think I've been asking him every single weekend since the boat went in the water. It's virtually impossible, and as you can see, Savannah's already pulling the mainsail cover off so those guys can get out there.
Yeah, but just day sail. Usually we're gone every weekend.
We have these baby stays. Can you explain to us a little bit about how those work, Noel?
Baby stays, they're considered baby stays and not running back stays because these work in addition to my rigging. They're not actual tightening the backstay, but what these actually do is I move them back on the slotted tow rail and tighten them, and they stop the mast from pumping because of where the staysail stay attaches at the top there. In heavy wind, it can produce pumping, and these are what stops that from happening.
So this is where all the lines are led aft to the cockpit. Nice safety feature, and this is one of the renovations Noel did on the boat, which is actually one of many, right, Noel?
Yep, one of many. Yeah, this was really nice because what was originally here was just some starboard, and it was only installed with the bolts that went through here, and I had to bolt through with, actually they're called mating bolts, so that they look nice on the other side. And this is just plexiglass. Originally these come with opening hatches, which are nice, but they're $800 hatches, and I wouldn't be able to have these chucks on there if I had the windows anyway. So I like this setup. It's nice.
So what are some of the other renovations you've done to the boat, Noel?
Well, to get in a little deeper, this year, this spring, I replaced my main sheet. This is the original main sheet. I have it hooked up. I use it as a preventer when I'm downwind sailing now.
Okay.
But one of the things was whenever I wanted to bring it in, I'd actually have to go into the wind because this one would not tighten up manually or throw it on a winch. So it was becoming a safety concern when I was single-handing. So I bought this sucker from Garhar, and it is one of the best, quickest purchases, easiest renovations I've done with the new line. I had to get new line, and it's a real great addition to makes the sailing a lot easier and a lot prettier, as you can see too.
Oh yeah, I love it. With the 30, you could actually sort of just tighten it and pull on the boom with your hand at the same time, but there's just too much sail area.
Yeah, there's a lot more force on this one. It's just not as the same, because yeah, that's what I had to do with the 30, was actually just kind of manhandle it, but you can't manhandle this boat as well, to a certain extent, but not fully like I could on the 30.
And these cushions, that's the name of Noel's boat, Archangel, thanks to Savannah.
Yeah, that's what's on the side, and she duplicated it at her business and made this from scratch, and it's a perfect match, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, I love it. So Noel, can you lift that up and show us some of the space that you have in?
Oh yeah, of course. And but she didn't. Yeah, Savannah didn't actually make the cushions. Andrews Upholstery did that in Flint.
Okay.
And
that was a nice birthday surprise.
Yeah, that was real nice.
I have such a hard time keeping a secret, and I was actually able to keep that one.
Yeah.
But nice deep lazarettes.
Yeah, I just keep all my safety equipment and ready available stuff.
And then behind the helm, more comfortable cushions.
Yep. Yep.
With more storage space under both of these.
This is a little messy.
Well, you know what I love about Noel's boat, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but Noel is a full-time liveaboard in Michigan. And I won't make you go through this one, but again, on this side we have yet another lazarette.
You want me to open it?
Yeah, go ahead if you want.
Doesn't matter to me.
And again, look at, no, what do we have over here?
This is my propane locker.
Okay.
I have a propane heater and a propane stove in the boat. And the boat came with the locker, but it didn't come with the safety equipment and the lines ran. It was just something that was there. So I hooked it all up and put all that stuff together. It had the stove, but it didn't have the heater. So all that's hooked up and safe and monitored, and I haven't had any issues so far.
And when we go inside, this boat also is equipped with air conditioning, right?
Yep. Now, officially this year, actually last couple months ago, officially has air conditioning. I have some minor upgrades to do to it, but yeah, it runs like a top.
It's a boat. There's always a list.
Yep.
What do you have at the helm, Noel?
Oh, you're talking about my famous speedometer. That's what you're talking about.
Oh, I forgot all about that, but I do love it.
Oh wait, no, that's it. There it is. This is the most important instrument on my boat. This tells the speed of my boat and how fast I'm going.
Well, let's see if I can zoom in on that. I don't know if you can see it. So what's it say, Noel?
It says 2 beers per hour, because that's the maximum speed I ever need to go.
I love it. I love it.
The speed's not important when you're on a sailboat. When you're out there, you're already there. I don't want that. The only thing that I find useful, autopilot and depth. Those are the two single most important gauges that you have on your boat. And I like to sail. I grew up sailing. I've been sailing since I was a baby, and I enjoy it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it enough to make a life.
Let's talk about that a little bit in the winter.
Yep.
You are a full-time liveaboard in Michigan.
Yep. One of the few my age too.
So how do you do that? Do you put the boat on the hard? Do you bubble it? What's the story?
Yeah, I'm actually, I go to Humbug, and Humbug is an anomaly because it's south of the Trenton power plant, and the exhaust water keeps the river from freezing. The exhaust water plus the current of the Detroit River both keep the water from freezing, so I don't really have to worry about it.
Now, Michigan, it gets below zero sometimes. January, February, those are bitter months. How do you stay warm?
I've got the propane heater down there, but I use an electric heater down there that's mounted on the wall with its own circuit breaker as the primary source, and then I just use the propane heater and a space heater as a heating backup only when I'm on the boat to try to minimize my risk.
Do you stay down there with them in the winter, Savannah?
Absolutely. I actually really like it. We shrink wrap it, and so it's nice and toasty warm when the sun's out, and we sit down there in our shorts and act like it's summer out and dream about sailing.
Clear shrink wrap with a conduit frame.
Okay, single guys out there, is she not the perfect sailor girl? All right, let's go inside and check out the boat. Thanks for watching this episode. Stay tuned for the next one where we'll do a tour of the inside of the Cherubini. As always, leave a comment below, share the video on YouTube, and please subscribe. Thank you.